Okay, so I'm going to try to record my thoughts on my idea of what positive valence is and what it isn't. And I kind of want to just get this out in a video form of me rambling because I don't know how to put it down into words in a clean, succinct way when I'm writing that. Yeah, this might help. Okay, so I believe pleasure as a positive, as an actual added experience does not exist. It certainly does not exist how a lot of us think it does. So before I can talk about that, I'll talk about the negative, about suffering. So I believe suffering or negative valence experiences exist in the form of contraction. So the two subtlest distinctions of phenomena are expansion and contraction. Some kind of sense impression can either have a contractive quality to it or an expansive quality to it. And the contraction, when that is taking place, that is what reifies or forms or solidifies a phenomenon, an appearance in consciousness as an object. It makes it seem more like a real thing. That when phenomena contracts together, that's what makes it seem like this is an actual thing, an actual happening, the goings on in experience as an event, as an experience, as a phenomena, as a particulate part in the mind. When there is contraction, I believe this causes negative valence. If there is a sense of self present as well. But so, for example, you have the feeling of pain in your shoulder. The feeling of pain, what lets you know about the pain, are contractive elements. There's a sense of contraction, tightening, clumping, hardening, heaviness, in-pull of experience, and this creates a sensation that is unpleasant. You would rather not have this experience. You prefer that experience goes away. That's the negative valence part. And you have to have a sense of self as well to add this judgment of I don't want this experience. You can have contractive experiences while undergoing ego death, which is zero sense of self, and when that happens, then there's no suffering, and it doesn't matter. It's okay. But normal states of mind, normally when there is some little sense of self, no matter how quaint, no matter how awakened you are, if you're still functioning in the world, there'll be some sense of self, some particular sense of self a lot of the time. Then when there's contractive valence, there can be negative valence. So you have this, and a contractive experience is very easy to locate. Often the more contracted, the more you can find the boundary and the border of it. So you can point your attention, be like, oh yeah, the pain is right here, and I can trace where it is with my attention. And then if you peer deeper and deeper, you can actually kind of break that up and actually see that, okay, these borders are wishy-washy and luminous and empty as well, actually. But just on a surface level, you can really go, oh, okay, here is the bad part of experience. Here's the part of experience that I don't like. Okay, so you've got contraction into experiences you don't like, and then they can release and go away. And then, so for example, your experience of the air right here is not filled with contraction, and it's just neutral. Like, you just have no judgment about the part of experience that is air right here. There's nothing to talk about there. It's like it's not like you want this part of your experience, the experience of the air bit right here, go away. No. Super expansion. A lot of people think, and I had this idea, and I don't know where this idea came from. I don't know how it was instilled, but this idea that there's contractive elements that are negative, and then you have their release expansion, and then there can be somehow a forming of phenomena, contraction on the other side that creates positive experiences. That you could have a coming together, a clumping of sensations that make up something positive. It gives positive valence, and you could have a formation of sense impressions where you go, oh yeah, that's the good stuff. That's what I want more of. I would argue no, that just doesn't exist. That pleasure does not work like that. You can never at any point actually really point to some cluster of sensations or some real imprint on consciousness and go, yeah, that's the good bit. That's what I want more of. More of that, please. It doesn't work like that. You just have the contraction bringing negative valence, and then its release and its expansion. I think times where people might be tempted to say, oh yeah, that's the good bit, that's the part I like. We can think of examples like nice tastes, or getting a massage or something like this. But I think what's actually happening is these are releasing negative contractive experiences, and in quick succession there's their release, and there's an interpretation that, oh, actually, because they don't have the like attentional specificity to distinguish which part is what, like which is actually the good bit and the bad bit. It's like people normally, often without training experience, like emotions is always just kind of this weird bundle, and it takes a lot of skill to be able to like parse apart and deconstruct your experience to see more subtleties of what is actually going on. So, for example, like when you get a massage, like people can think, oh yeah, oh that's good, oh yeah, that's the spot, oh yeah, more of that, like, and really think, oh, I can point to a part of my experience that is pleasurable. That's really like, yeah, here's a solid experience I'm feeling, solid-ish experience I'm feeling, that I want more of that, and I'm associating this as being pleasurable. But actually, what I believe is going on is there's expansion and contraction happening next to each other in quick succession of moments of experience, and the contractive elements which actually form a real experience, a positive experience in terms of positive, like it's happening, it's there, as opposed to it's disappearing. That's the negative, and then it's quickly expanding, it's releasing, it's disappearing. The contraction is disappearing, and that's actually what people want and what people like. But they're not seeing those as separate. They're seeing just it happening, the expansion and the contraction happening in quick succession. And so they're interpreting actually like a physical feeling as being good, but actually, if they could pay more attention, it's not the physical imprint, the sense impression that is actually good. It's actually its quick release. It's disappearing. Part of experience disappearing is what they like. And it could be that a massage is good because you started off with more contractions, and then by the end of the massage, you're left with less contractive elements of experience. So you can actually contract something, you can have something contracted to this degree, and then you can actually contract it more such that it releases more. And then you interpret that as good. But it's only ever the release and the disappearing, the relaxing, the disappearing of phenomena, which is the thing we want. is actually what we got. It's not possible to add to experience something positive that you want that is good. So that's very not intuitive to a lot of people, I think, and they would probably fight against this idea because we really want to say, no, there are good experiences in life. There are good sensations. We want to say pleasurable sensations. There's things like orgasms and such. But actually, if you really pay attention to what those are, it's a big build-up of pressure and then a release. And it's the release that you interpret as being good, as being what you want. But if you never had this build-up of pressure in the first place with the urges and the desires and contractions, there's nothing that needs to be released that you care for to get back to a baseline of wellness. Let's take an extreme example, like 5-MeO-DMT. And they say 5-MeO-DMT is, if you have a good trip, gives you some of the highest valence state possible that we know of in human experience. What are some of the features of that really high valence state that you get when you smoke 5-MeO-DMT? Well, incredible expansion, incredible release, not adding more to experience, but taking more from experience away. The contractive element of the sense of self disintegrating, releasing. The contractive elements of the sense of the body evaporating out. The contractive sense of boundaries of space vanishing, falling down, falling away. And you're just left with mass expansion. And expansion is not an actual thing. Expansion isn't adding to experience. It's not adding phenomena. It is its release. It is the disappearing of phenomena. And so the highest valence states of mind are actually ones in which there's less experience. Somehow there's like a sense of pure experience, or you're like hyper aware. It's like more experience than you ever normally experience in day-to-day life, because there's like a very high energy level in consciousness. But the point I'm trying to make is you can't add to experience to get pleasure, to actually get something where you can think, yes, more of this, that's what I want. You can't add a cherry on top of experience to be like, yes, despite how many people think and the way we normally talk about pleasures in life and what we're doing here. I really believe, having explored many states of mind and explored my experience inside out to a great degree, I've never ever found a contractive experience that I could really point to and be like, yes, more of that. That's the thing I like. That's the pleasure. And I've done all the jhanas. I've experienced all the jhanas. I've experienced many incredible, wacky states of mind. And I classify myself as someone who has exceptionally high well-being. Like my average level of well-being day to day when nothing's happening is way above the mean now. So despite the fact that I'm saying there's no pleasure, I live life from an incredibly high level of well-being. So my view is not as negative as you might think. It doesn't mean you resort to, fucking everything's shit and there's nothing of substance here, and which is true. There is nothing. There's no sense impression that is satisfactory, even for a second. There is nothing to find in your experience, in states of mind that you explore, that are actually satisfying, that are actually like, despite a lot of people might think, you're actually not perceiving your experience closely enough if you are thinking this is the case. Okay, I think I explained that. Not so bad.